and welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And today I want to talk about Black women. I mean, which day is not a great day to talk about Black women and the amazing things that Black women are doing? And more specifically, there is an economic revolution that has occurred in the world, in the Black community, and Black women actually were the canaries in the mine on this. Because Black women have been doing it, owning businesses, getting advanced degrees, and now flipping that into actual wealth building, ownership, and investing. And so two people that I think can really, summarize what's going on in the Black female economic revolution are our two guests today. One is the name of Miss Constance Carter, who is the founder of, give me the name of your real estate company.
Catalyst Real Estate Professionals.
Catalyst Real Estate, because
Yes.
you got your two, and your two.
And
we got you. She happens to be like this gangster rapper too. She's a real good rapper. So they actually rap about real estate and they kill the game. My second guest is Miss Cassandra Cummings, who is the founder of, is it Stocks and Stilettos? Is that correct?
Stocks and Stilettos Society.
The Stocks and Stilettos Society, SSS, all right. And she's killing the game when it comes to stock market investing. And our third guest who just came in is Miss Charlene Payton. Charlene,
hello.
And the name of your company, I don't have it in front of me. Charlene, give us the name of your company.
BP Events.
BP Events. And Charlene, actually, I know Charlene not just because she's an awesome businesswoman, but because she has been our awesome wedding planner. And you know, there's so many just so many Black women doing excellent, amazing things all across the country. But with Charlene, I saw this amazing amount of professionalism and skill and capability that made me say, you know, I think it would be fun to kind of bring you in because I think people can learn from that. And so so everybody say hello to the guests. And let's the word for today, make it one word, is Black women. Hashtag Black women. Put hashtag Black women in the chat. So we can cheer for Black women and the great things that they're doing. And so let's just jump into the conversation. So I'm going to start with you, Miss Constance Carter. I think that in the last 5 years, we've had just this almost like an economic renaissance revolution kind of feel when it comes to ownership and entrepreneurship and investing and all that stuff. I mean, that makes me really excited. But tell me about that. Have you noticed a change, say now 2021, compared to say 2011 or 2006 or before? And if so, what has that change been for you?
I would say yes. I started my business. I opened up my real estate company 2010, and I was really one of the very few entrepreneurs that I knew. And I've seen definitely a progression over the last several years. I'm seeing a lot more of us that are just out there doing major things. And, you know, one of the things that I know for sure, just about women, Black women, I'm seeing us operate in excellence like I've never seen from anyone. And I think we all know the principles that, you know, we have to jump higher, run faster, work harder, just be excellence in action in everything that we do. But it's so good to see that amongst so many Black women that are doing such great and amazing things. But I have seen, Dr. Boyce, a huge revolution on just business owners. And I'm working with a lot of them. You know, I own a real estate firm. Probably 85% of our agents are Black women, and they are kicking butt and taking names. So I see it all over. Absolutely.
Okay, so Cassandra Cummings, you know, with you in the Stocks and Stilettos Society, and I didn't even ask you, you know, if what percentage of that society is Black female. And I'd love to hear that.
99.9.
99.9. Okay, so 99.9% of the Stocks and Stilettos Society is Black female. What's different about Black women? I mean, first of all, you know, every demographic is kind of having an awakening on entrepreneurship and investing just because of what the internet has kind of done to democratize things. But it seems that there's something different amongst Black women. What's different about Black women in this day and age?
I think Black women are really trying to find a transition from corporate America. You know, we've been sold that whole lie about you got to go to school, get a good job, you know, in order to make it and live the American dream. And so we are finding that that's not necessarily the case. Corporate America has beat us up beside the head, and we are looking for different ways in which we can provide for our families, and we can become, you know, bosses out in here in this world. And so the stock market has allowed a lot of women to throw up a middle finger to corporate America and say, I don't need this. I don't have to go through these microaggressions. I can go make my money somewhere else, and also use that money that I make from the stock market to fuel my business. And so I think that, Black women have become smarter, wiser. We're the highest, the most educated population in America. And we are basically, utilizing all of this knowledge and education that we've been working so hard to attain over these past, several decades.
Interesting. So, Charlene Payton from BP Events. So I heard Cassandra mention microaggressions and some of the things that I've always kind of joked that if you ever want to hear an interesting conversation, get a bunch of Black professionals together with advanced degrees and give them a couple of drinks and then start the conversation by saying something like, let me tell you about those white people at my job. Right. And you'll be talking all night long. Like you literally we literally, I've seen this so many times where we will sit and talk about the microaggressions all night long as if we can't get out of that. And some people choose to walk away from that. When you talk about that desire to kind of be free and to own things and to liberate, what drives that inside of you? Like what makes you feel better running the show than you might feel sort of, being part of a supporting cast?
For me, it would be the fact that I've witnessed so many women in my own life and my own family, my mentors. I see what they do, and I'm saying to myself, regardless of what's going on the outside, I am so happy that I'm in the role and the position that I'm in, because everyone doesn't take this path, and everyone won't always take the risk. So to see the women, like I have women in my family that are accountants, they started their own accounting firms. I have women in my family that have started so many businesses. So when I look at them, it's just more motivation for me to continue to press on and say, I'm so glad I have the role that I have, and I'm going to play it to the highest degree.
Okay. So sorry, you caught me off guard. I was looking for something on my computer. Okay, so one of the things I'm thinking about in terms of ownership and entrepreneurship and investing is right now there's this interesting trend. Let's talk about the stock market. And I'll go back to you, Cassandra, since that's kind of your thing. And then, of course, both of you are versed in these things, so you can jump right in for sure. Constance and Charlene. We got 3 C's, by the way. I know I'm going to mess that up at some point. So, Cassandra, tell us about the stock market and some of the chaos that's been going on, and what's been the conversation in your circle in terms of what you're seeing.
Well, just to kind of give some background on what's kind of been going on is that you basically had a bunch of hedge fund participants shorting some of these stocks, and they were basically running down stocks like Chewy, GameStop, and so forth to really make money off of shorting them. And so the little guys, Main Street, said, we're not going to take this from you guys. We're going to run up the stock price. And so basically what happened was, in a subreddit group, Wall Street Bets, they just basically put the hit out and said, we're going to buy as many shares of GameStop, AMC, and a lot of these other companies that these hedge funds had been shorting to basically get back at these, really rich people. And so they flooded the market. They ran up the stock price. That forced a lot of these hedge fund people to have to either file bankruptcy, and they basically were losing money. They were hemorrhaging, right? And so it really came down to Wall Street versus Main Street, and Main Street outwitted them. And then you had hedge fund billionaires on there talking about it's an attack on the wealthy and so forth. And basically what they didn't realize is that having people sit at home, collect government checks, they thought they were going to go buy, toilet paper and stuff like that. But what they did is they took their, STEMI checks, and they ended up investing in the stock market and learning how to invest in the stock market all last year as they were sitting home. And now there's a huge, there's tension going on between the rich guys and the retail guys. And so in my group, we're talking more so about perhaps leaving Robinhood, which is a very popular platform, because the trading restrictions that they placed on some of the ladies and, just people in general on their platform. And then really understanding the power of influence. And I was just recently interviewed by Reuters about this. Like, you have so much power with so many people following you that you can be a market mover. And I said, I know, I absolutely can. Somebody approached me about telling my group, hey, move on this particular stock, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that because I'm registered with FINRA. And a lot of these cats that's out here giving a lot of advice, they're not registered. And so they're just not held to the same standard.
Interesting. So, Constance, I know your son is a heavy investor, and so are you. It seems like investing is part of your family culture, which, by the way, everybody, I think everybody should be doing that. I think that's brilliant. What's the talk with you and your son and your family about what you've been seeing with the market? This is a very strange week we've been having.
It's crazy. The cool thing is I'm seeing it all across my social media. When I get on social media, everybody is investing. People that didn't know anything about investing, and I've been talking about it for the last few years, Acorns and Robinhood, and just trying to get people just on a very small scale to invest. So now I'm seeing it all across the board, which is beautiful. My son, and I'll always pay homage to you, Dr. Boyce. My son started, and I had him on my show a couple nights ago, and I played the video when he was 12 years old, when I had just gave him the Dr. Boyce Watkins stock trading program. I had just given it to him, and then I was quizzing him, and he was so little. He's so big now, but he was so little, and I'm asking him all these questions about investing, and it was just, oh my God, it just warmed my heart to see him today at 16. Now has a group of about 150 people in his group, and he's showing people and he's sharing all about stock. He's made $14,000 this month, just alone investing in stock. My son, not me. So I'm just watching him, but we're talking about it. This is all he talks about all day: investing in stock, investing in real estate. He's flipping. Now he's investing in his friend's business, where his friend's going to be detailing, and he's the investor. He's going to take a 30% cut off the top. He's just doing all kinds of stuff, right? I'm loving the conversations that we're talking about it all the time. But to your point, in his group, that they're talking about the very thing with Robinhood. So everybody's moving over to Webull right now, and other I'm seeing. I just kind of, I stay hands off in his group. I just kind of peek in every now and then. And so I'm seeing, and then last night we were in the car and he was showing me Robinhood was really strange, because one moment he would have 40,000, the next moment he would have 28, the next moment he would have 35. Like, it was just like this, like every second. And we had no idea what was going on. And then he was making trades. He was trying to buy Dogecoin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dogecoin.
And, just a bunch of weird stuff that was going on. And so I do understand that there's lawsuits, but it's like, it goes back to that old saying, ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. And
I like that. It ain't no fun when the rabbits got the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of rabbits that are locked and loaded these days. I mean, a whole lot of rabbits got guns and machetes and AK-47s, and that you can't put that rabbit back in the hat. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And I find that so interesting. First of all, I'm really excited to hear that story. We've been friends for a while, but you never told me the story about your son and the program. Or I don't recall us discussing that, and that really excites the heck out of me.
Oh, it's great.
And I think it's also great because he's your child, and as a Black man, he's your son, and I have seen all this, the whole spectrum. In terms of sons that add tremendous value to the lives of their family as they get older, and then sons who don't do so well. Right, who become a little bit of a drain on the family, and I think that this is where it starts. Right, this ability to say, I am going to take care of mama now that I'm 35, 40, 45 years old. I'm going to make sure mama's good because I'm good. Mama got me where I am, and dad did too. Parents work together, right? But I think about that as a man who, for example, I just recently. Actually, I don't talk about my business that much, but I literally today got a text from my mother because she said, thank you, because I sent her the last check to pay off our house that they've lived in for 25 years. Yeah, I sent that last little check, and we're going to have a mortgage burning party. And and it was really important for my parents to see my parents, literally completely own their home. And so getting that, so it's ironic you tell that story right as I just got the text maybe an hour ago. And I remember when I was your son's age, and I remember I got, one of my first little jobs. It was a stupid little sales job. It wasn't nothing, but it made me really proud. I really felt like a man. Like, yeah. And I remember saying, I said, Mama, one day I'm going to be somebody. And you know how every family has that one person who goes off and does something great. I want to do that for my family. And the thing is that it was my parents that put that in me. Right. And so there's a cycle to that. Right. Yeah. So I'm super proud of you, son. I think this really inspires me. So, let's talk about that, in terms of children and family. So Cassandra, tell us more about your family, and have you seen sort of how you're not a normal person in a good way. I'm saying that in a good way. You're not a normal person. You're a boss. You're very well respected. You're very good at what you do. How does that become contagious in your family? That level of success and excellence, independence, financial security, etc. How does that translate into changes in the behavior of individuals around you, or maybe it doesn't? Please, I'd love for you to share.
Well, I think that it's definitely gonna, my daughter, who is 24, she's definitely gotten bit by a bug. She is going to finish her education. She's going to go off to law school, and she just told me recently, she's 24. I don't want to work for somebody. I don't want to have to go punch a clock somewhere. I want to do my own thing. Now, fortunately, I met her dad when I was in college. And so, he's doing his own thing. He does really well for himself. And so she has two really good examples to learn from. However, I would say other relatives like cousins, other siblings, things like that, they just haven't taken to this whole, Black women revolution thing. They feel like they should still be using the same game plan as go to school, get a job, and so forth. And then I have some cousins, they're probably never going to have a job. They're going to stay on welfare. They're going to, they're going to just, be a part of those generational curses that I've had to break. And that's fine. And like I told my family, I'm here if you need me. I'm here if you want to try something different. But I'm not really here for a lot of handouts, but I can give you a hand up, but I'm not, really about giving you a handout.
Okay. I'd like to ask an honest question from everybody on the panel and everybody in the audience. Give me a yes or no if this applies to you. How many of you have people in your family that might be defined as trifling? Anybody got any trifling relatives?
Can I put up my hand too?
Okay, you got both hands out, Constance. Okay.
Put my feet up too.
Okay, and we're not talking down on nobody. We're not gonna say no names and nothing like that. But just some stuff where you see certain, things happen. And you're like, what is this? Like, am I I gotta be in the twilight zone. Now we know where that comes from, right? A lot of that is racism, white supremacy. It's the structure of this country and what it's done to the minds of some of our people. And so when you make a conscious decision to break a generational curse, you're not always going to get completely supported in that. Yeah. You're going to have some people that are going to resist that, right? Oh, you think you better than everybody else? Yeah, don't be talking down on me, stuff like that. So I'll start with you, Constance. Maybe referencing in your mind a specific case study that you can think of where you broke a generational curse and it was difficult or very painful and hurtful to do. How did you kind of process that? What was that experience like for you, and how do you manage that in a healthy way?
The cool thing for me, Dr. Boyce, is that I came from very humble beginnings, and I'm still, I have a PhD, a public high school diploma, so I don't have a post-secondary education or anything like that. I've had to do everything the hard way. I've had to learn the hard way. So I got into real estate very young at 26, and then started making six figures. The second year I was in, never made under six figures, filed bankruptcy a few years later, making $250,000 a year, but not knowing how to manage my money, and just going through, had to short sell homes, foreclose on homes, had to, got my car repossessed, all of those things. And so my family's really seen my struggle. They've watched everything that I went through. I'm very giving, very generous. So I don't necessarily have people in my life that are like, oh, you think you better, because I'm still a little rough around the edges. I'm still, Niecy. They call me Niecy from San Jose. I'm still that chick, but at the same time, always willing to help anybody. But I just don't tolerate a lot of negativity in my space. So either come on or, attach yourself onto this caboose, or get left behind. That's just how it is. But I don't see a whole lot. They could probably talk. They might be talking a whole lot behind my back, but I don't see it.
Yeah, well, everybody's talking about you because you're constant starter. So people gonna talk about you, right? And some things they say are good, some are bad. Sure. Eventually you get used to it. You know, I gave up trying to manage, everybody's perception of, because if people decide they're gonna see you as a demon, it's gonna happen. If they decide they're gonna see you as an angel, it's gonna, So I think that you develop that internal compass, based on what matters to you, what your values are. And also your compass, I think with you two being successful women, your compass is going to be different from everyone else's. That's why your life is different from everyone else's, because you're not the same. You do things different. You wake up in the morning and by 9 a.m. you've probably done 2 or 3 things different from what most people do. Yeah. And I encourage everybody that's sort of watching this to understand that, if you're the same as everybody, you're going to get the same. If you do different, you're going to get different. Okay. So before I move on to my next question for Miss Cassandra, I'd like for everybody to please hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button. Please tell these 2 amazing Black women that we think they're great and we love them. I don't know what happened to Miss Charlene Payton. I think her Wi-Fi must have died, but we're going to get Charlene back because Charlene is great. And also, if you want to interact with these 2 ladies and 20 other, literally, I think 21, Lene gathered 21 women for the Women of Wealth Weekend. That starts tomorrow. You can go to womenofwealthweekend.com and they're going to cover pretty much everything. They got all kinds of stuff on the agenda, everything from investing to real estate to business acumen to side hustles to making money from an online class, all that stuff. So go to womenofwealthweekend.com. It's women only, so I won't be there. I have nothing to say because when Black women are talking, we need to learn how to be quiet. And I also believe out of fairness that when Black men are talking, everyone needs to be quiet then too, right? We need to listen to each other and learn from each other. So speaking on that, Cassandra, let's talk about that. You're a high-powered woman. There are examples I've heard of scenarios where high-powered Black women that are doing well, kicking butt, taking names, making money, succeeding, sometimes run into some challenges, with men who maybe aren't there yet, and who maybe have a reaction. Maybe they're a little bit, some would say maybe intimidated, or some might say maybe frustrated, or whatever the case may be, by that success and by that power, or not used to that power. Have you seen that, and how does that make you feel, and what is your reaction to some of that?
Yeah, I have, come across that. I think more so that certain types of men will find you as competition, look at you as if you're trying to compete with them. Maybe not necessarily they're intimidated by you, but I think the word used was frustrated. They're frustrated as to, maybe why you were given opportunities and they had to fight for, what they were able to sort of, build up for themselves. And so I think once Black men view Black women differently, more so as a co-pilot or as a partner, that's when we really can succeed and really kind of change the paradigm of Black families and Black relationships between, the sexes. But I think until then, it's going to be very difficult if we find that we're competing with each other and not really working together to really move our families, our communities, and so forth together. But, I rarely come across those types of men. But when I do, it's very startling that I can't get them to see me more so as, a teammate, a partner, and not necessarily a competitor.
Yeah, well, that's such an interesting thing that you mentioned. Because I know that in general, the way I was raised as a man, it might just be culture, but I was raised for competition in certain spaces. That you get out there, you're gonna have to fight, you have to compete, and I think that there are times I would imagine where that desire to nurture and then Constance, I love to pass the ball to you on this, but there's times where that desire to nurture and protect and provide, it conflicts with the competitive energy, right? When you are, in a scenario where somebody is Like, no, we're not, you know, I'm not the little woman next to you. Like, I'm just like you, right? And for some men, I think they have a hard time processing that, you know, to say, wait, no, wait. Oh, so it's like we just a couple of dudes just hanging out, you know, and the way guys deal with other men is very different from the way a man deals with his woman. I'll just make a confession that I had to find a way to reconcile that when it comes to Alicia. You know, Alicia's my fiance. She is a kick-ass professional, a full professor of social work. Ain't nobody telling her nothing. Award-winning, runs her business, makes her money, sees her clients, boss level kind of person. And so what we found is that that collaborative energy required a shift, you know, kind of in thinking. And I actually found that when you work it right, it can actually feel good. It can be beneficial.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's nothing like a quality Black woman to have as a great teammate. So you don't have to do it all by yourself. You know, where so it's like, okay, like we're just, you know, we're both going off the battle together. But I also find, and Constance, let's get your thoughts on this, but I also find that there are just times too where gender roles might be more appropriate. Where there's times where I'm like, I'm the man, sit down, be quiet, you know, or it should be like, babe, get out of here. I'm gonna talk to the girls. You know what I mean? Like there's times where we claim our space, and it's a constant juggling match. It's hard. It's really hard for people, I think. What do you think, Constance? About just sort of about the confusion that of roles that men and women go through in this weird world we live in.
No, I agree 100%, you know, and in this world, and we were just talking about this on one of your panels the other day, you know, when women make more than men, it kind of creates a different type of dynamic in a lot of households, because then you have you know, people base their relationships based upon who makes more money, which it shouldn't be. At the end of the day, because, you know, the type of income that I make, there's not going to be a lot of men that are going to make more. I mean, it would be nice, but it's not. It's just not reality in a lot of cases for me. And I'm okay with that. I don't care about a man and how much money they make. I want a man who's going in the same direction as me, who has the same moral values. And I think what needs to happen is, just like you said, I'm 100% in agreement with you. At the end of the day, when you come home, you take all of that stuff that you did outside off, and you come home and you be a wife. You know, whatever's going on with that husband, you take whatever struggles you had to deal with during the day, and you be a husband and you be the man of that household. And I definitely believe in traditional roles, allowing a man to be a man, a woman to be a woman, and allowing him to, you know, to lead and do all of those things and submit to one another. But people get it twisted a lot of times, and they think that I make all the money, I make all the decisions. That's not necessarily the case. You know, you don't have to make all the money for me, but help me manage the money. Help me by saving. Help me by helping me pay the bills. All of those things. That's the thing that's valuable for me. Not that you got to make a lot of money, but just, you know, help with it.
So I'm curious. And by the way, everybody, let me just make sure you know who I'm speaking with. I'm speaking with Constance Carter, who is the founder and CEO of Catalyst Real Estate, and also Cassandra Cummings, founder of Stocks and Stilettos, the Stocks and Stilettos Society. And we're talking about the economic revolution among Black women, where Black women are kicking butt and taking names, investing, starting businesses, and really shaping the next generation. So hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. And just a reminder that tomorrow, Lene Javette is hosting the Women of Wealth Weekend. And I'll put the URL on the screen if you want to join. I know that Cassandra and Constance will both be there, along with about 18 other experts. So about 21 women. So Cassandra, how did you start investing in stocks? Like what was this something that was part of your family before you were born? Or is it something you discovered on your own and you kind of brought this home? Like, how did that happen for you?
Well, when I was 17, my dad was I like to say he was a street pharmacist out in Oakland. And unfortunately, the streets took him. And but my dad he was 33 at the time. And I guess he had, you know, certain types of advisors. You know, he comes from actually a pretty well-educated family. My grandmother was a typist at the Pentagon, and my aunt was a nurse. And he just decided that he was going to, you know, do things his way, be hard-headed a little bit. But he took out a life insurance policy. And when he passed away, I was the beneficiary on that policy at 17. And so, you know, the insurance companies, they want to deliver the check in person. And from there, I was given a financial advisor to come along with the check. And I got into investing because I had basically all this money. I went from, welfare to financial independence, like from 0 to 100 at 17. And I needed somebody to help guide me. Now, at that time, I didn't know that this white woman was basically going to put me in all of these high commission products and really not help me grow and manage that money. And so I had to learn, by fire, basically, about the stock market. Here I am at 17, 18, learned about annuities. I shouldn't have had an annuity at 17, 18, So all these products, a whole new language, a whole new world had opened up to me at that age. And basically from that point on, I had always just become interested in money and how money works, how investing works, because, I just saw a lot of cash on my dad's side. And then on my mom's side, I saw a lot of struggle, so it was a really, really interesting dynamic. I always say I grew up on the other side of the game, and I just kind of got involved in it that way. Then fast forward, graduated from college, had a bad chick who was my mentor from college, went through a program, and she was running a division in AIG, and being hard-headed, finally connected with her again and said, hey, I need to get a job. I'm out here struggling, trying to be on the news as a reporter. And she said, come on, and you have financial freedom. You can make your own schedule, because I was a single parent. And that's how I got involved in the stock market. Just as a financial advisor, she gave me a really short time frame to get all my securities licenses. I busted it out in like 6 months and went in and, became an advisor in the field. And that's how I really honed my skills as a person in the stock market.
Wow. Okay, so that's an interesting story. That reminds me of the story of A.G. Gaston a little bit, and how he became, really wealthy. And he, when he was 13, he ended up his family and actually worked for this other family that knew all this stuff. Not to say your story is exactly like that, of course not, but it was like sort of happenstance. He bumps into these people that are like, no. Here's the better way to make money. And next thing you know, A.G. Gaston is a black man in the 1940s and 50s worth tens of millions of dollars, wow. And so a lot of times, Constance, it seems to me that it's a lot of times it's about knowing how to, they say work harder or work smarter. It's about, sort of the old hustle and the intelligent hustle, right? If you hustle intelligently, then you can find your way to the top of the food chain much more rapidly than you can if you try to go through the same pathway that's clogged up for everybody else. Can you talk about the art of the intelligent hustle and just, some ways that you think differently that led you to kind of have a different sort of outcome than a lot of other people?
Yeah, I think, you have to diversify. So you have to have multiple revenue streams. And I've read a lot of books and studied very successful people. And the recurring theme to success is really having more revenue streams. Not just one, not just placing your eggs in all in one basket. And I remember I would get really nervous when I had one revenue source. I always got nervous. That's probably when I filed bankruptcy. I probably had one revenue stream. But you have to just think outside the box. If you have a 9-to-5, get something else. Start investing in stock. Get some. I wrote the pandemic created a book. The ebook that I wrote is called 7 Online Revenue Streams to Fund Your $1 Million Dreams, and it's just giving 7 ideas, or actually 8 ideas, on things that you can do online while you're doing something else. There's just different things that you could do. So I think what people need to really understand is that they need to look at having multiple. That's why my son, 16 years old, not only is he investing in stock, he's flipping shoes. He's buying stuff wholesale on Alibaba and he's reselling that on eBay. He's selling his games on eBay. He's investing in his buddy's detail business. He's also investing in him and his buddy are flipping cars also. So there's just so many, but this is the principle. My daughter, same thing. She's 21, senior in college. Not only is she has her own marketing business, she's also she has a real estate license. She's also the compliance manager for our company. She's also an intern at We Buy Black and Cross Colors. And, so I'm the next generation, definitely. I'm teaching this. This is a principle that I live by, but it's a principle that I'm also teaching my kids. But it's something that I'm telling everybody. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have more than one thing going on. Here's a key, though. Get good at one thing. Don't just be like, don't be schizophrenic with it. So don't have a bunch of stuff going on and mastering nothing. Master one thing, and then you start to spread out and do other things. But have that one core thing that you do very well, and then you can have other things going on as well.
Wow, I really like that a lot. It's and it's almost, it seems to me, Cassandra, like when I'm hearing Constance talk, it's she, in her voice, I hear the excitement and enthusiasm that all of us get to feel when we start living in a purpose, and really doing something where you say, okay, this is what I was meant to do, and then also if you start doing something that you think you're meant to do and you don't like it, well, if you're an entrepreneur, you just change and you do something else. Right. And like, I remember I always wanted to get into the movie business. So I was like, I want to go through the process of making a movie. So we got together with some people, we formed a team, funded the movie and made the movie. And then after about 2 or 3 movies, I was like, okay, I don't like this anymore. I'm gonna do something else. We still make movies, but I don't get as directly involved. But that's kind of that fun permeability of people always talk about the work-life balance. I think that's the wrong way to think about it. I think it's a work-life blend. So, it's to the point where you can't even tell the difference when you're working or when you're just living. I can't. Every time somebody calls me a workaholic, I'm like, I don't think I've worked in about 25 years.
The thing about it is you never can really, entrepreneurs never really can achieve that balance. My good friend Lisa Nichols says balance is a myth, but harmony is a must. So, it's hard if you're doing so many things. I've been in situations with my kids where I've missed certain important events because I'm out, just chasing a dream. But I make sure that time with them is quality time. I might not be able to give them 100%. I might be able to give them 50%, but I'm going to give them 100% of that 50% when I'm there, be present and all that stuff. So I think that's really important because having balance is just non-existent when you are out there just trying to chase your dream.
And see, I took a different approach. So as a financial advisor, I did have flexibility and control of my time. And it was really important to me because I really wanted to pour into my daughter what my mom didn't pour into me, what my dad wasn't here to pour into me. So I needed to have a career, a job that could provide me with the ability to earn a living, but also the ability to be there for my daughter as a single parent. And it gave me the best of both worlds at that time. I just wasn't able to really give that career 110% because I gave my daughter 1,000%. And I'm thankful for having made that decision to kind of not go, big and go hard for somebody else's company and really invest in my daughter, invest in myself, and making sure that, because she's going to start having children at some point. So I wanted her to have a mom that could be there, could help her, all her events. She was a traveling tennis player, all of that. And I wanted to be able to do that because my mom, she was on welfare. I was forging my mom's, signature on documents for field trips and stuff like that. She just was not, she did the best she could with what she had. And I just wanted to take that to a different level.
Wow. Well, breaking cycles. I mean, that's
yeah.
What it's kind of crazy how so many of us, I mean, I'd be curious to ask everybody in the audience, say yes in the chat if you feel like you've had to break a generational curse, just to even be in this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Right now we're recording this on a Friday night. There are a lot of things that people would find to be more interesting to do on a Friday night than to talk about growth and wealth and everything else. But wealthy, this is what smart, wealthy people do. This is what people do when they're growing and they're building and they're creating, right? But that's not, I mean, we'd be lying if we said that was everybody. And so when I hear you talk about breaking generational curses, it's like, whoa, you too, huh? You know, like,
Right.
you know, gotta look back at some old bootleg stories about family. You know, when I like my one of my bootleg stories, I got probably 20 of them, was, you know, like when my mom told me that, okay, so when I was born, first of all, my daddy was 15 when he got my mother pregnant. What's a 15-year-old doing getting anybody pregnant, right? Yeah, you're right. Well, when our kid was 15, we can't imagine him doing, like, even remotely being close to anything that has anything to do with being a father, right? But anyway, so she said that she got pregnant. They broke up shortly after the pregnancy, and she gave birth, and to me, and I said, well, who was there when I was born? Like, yeah, I don't think he was there. It was anybody there? She said, no, it was me, you, and the doctor, and that's it. And I just said, holy crap, like, it was me and you, and that's it. Like, it ain't supposed to be like that, right? It's not, it's not supposed to be like all this struggle and chaos, and like, oh, one time I had to punch my mama in the face, like you hear little girls say that, or my daddy stole my money, just crazy stuff, like just real dysfunction. And then you got to work through that. And I almost feel like I'm a believer that everybody can benefit from therapy. I think that therapy will help you work through your shit, and if you don't have any shit, it'll just help you become the shit, right? It'll take you to the next level, right? So either way, therapy will take you to the next level, whether you're starting on level 7 or you're starting on level -5, right? It will always take you to the next level, and all of us need to explore that to find our happiness, health, and bliss, instead of carrying this horrible stuff all throughout life, because that trauma is oof. So right, we about $2 trillion of that $15 trillion in reparations should go just toward mental health. Right. So okay, so let me ask the ladies. And first of all, before I ask you to do this, I would like everybody to know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Miss Constance Carter. She is the CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate. And now Catalyst, if I'm not mistaken, did you say Catalyst is the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You go, girl. Look at clap for this lady, please. Everybody clap. Okay, digital round of applause. All right, and Miss Cassandra Cummings, who is the CEO and founder of the Stocks and Stilettos Society, and I met her in a group of a lot of Black millionaires or millionaires to be, and it was Lamar Tyler's group, and so and I knew great things about your work. Your reputation preceded you, and so I have a lot of respect for what you do there. So let me ask you, if you could. Because I know you're both very busy ladies, you're bosses, you have a lot of things to do. Could you maybe leave us with maybe like a closing statement of just something that we can just pack up and think about over the weekend that's going to make us into better Black people when we're done? I'll start with you, Miss Constance Carter.
I think that we Black women are on the cutting edge. We are the leaders of this country, and we're just doing some amazing things. But, the thing about it is iron sharpens iron, and you have to just surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to be doing. And I think what's going to happen at the Weekend of Wealth, the Women's Weekend of Wealth weekend, is you're going to just see a bunch of amazing women that come from all different walks of life that are going to be dropping straight nuggets on things that are going to change your life. So I'm a strong and firm believer in investing. I've invested hundreds because I don't have a college degree. I have a PhD, a public high school diploma. So I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my professional development. I'm always seeking coaches. I'm always seeking training. I've met Dr. Boyce at a conference somewhere, just gleaning and learning and gleaning from other people. This is what you have to do. And this is the best time in the history of this country because, number one, you have the internet where you could do anything. You could GTS, Google that shit, anything in the world, you could figure it out on Google. But then if you have the right resources and people around you that can help you take you to the next level, then you should be there. So I just want to encourage you guys, get your tickets today because it's something that you do not want to miss out on. I would.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so, Miss Cassandra Cummings, your final thoughts.
Yes, just want to say we are 80,000 strong on Facebook. We are the largest Facebook group of Black women investors. So we are kicking ass and taking names, if I can say that. As far as how to make Black people better, it's all about each one teach one. We can't feel like we need to hoard information. We've got to, kind of play small and things like that. We only do ourselves a disservice when we do that. So it's all about each one, teach one. For me, I push it hard in my community. I think that we're going to be really on some each one, teach one stuff for the Women of Wealth Weekend, which is why I'm excited to be a part of this movement that we see. I'm just amazed at, the strides and the accomplishments that Black women have made over the past few decades, investing in themselves, investing in their communities, and so forth. So I'm really excited about making Black women better, Black men better, and just, the Black community overall, a better group of people here in this country.
All right. All right. That's right. That's right. Yes. So I hope everybody can take a second to give a digital thank you, digital round of applause for these two brilliant Black women that came in today. Ms. Constance Carter, CEO and founder of Catalyst Real Estate, and also Cassandra Cummins, CEO and founder of the Stocks and Stilettos Society. And as they mentioned, the Women of Wealth Weekend, hosted by Lene Javette, starts tomorrow morning, actually. And there's over 20 different experts coming through. Some of them you've actually seen this week. Miss Charlene Payton was here earlier, and I guess her Wi-Fi went down, but she's going to come back. And so if you want to get your game on at the highest levels, I'll have my daughters watching because this is what's going to build our community. We know that we're nothing without the Black woman. We all came from a Black woman, so that's where it all began. But then even beyond that, we've been supported by Black women, defended by Black women in every way. And I encourage all the men to really think about what can I do for a Black woman today to show her that I love her. Start with your mama, then go to your girlfriend, wife, whatever the case may be. Pick your Black wife. I'm a believer in that. No disrespect, not dissing nobody, not hating nobody, but I think that's important, right? I think that who you choose to give yourself to says something about what you value. I'm sorry. I know people, I have to be careful about that because I got people in my family that made different choices, and that's always their right to do that. But I couldn't feel as good about doing what I'm doing if I was sitting next to Becky, if I'm like, yeah, I really love Black people. I'm B1 all day, every day. Oh, by the way, here's my wife, Becky. That's gonna say something about what I value, because the greatest thing I can give to another person is my life and my future. And so, in a way, it speaks to, from a powernomic standpoint or a racial wealth gap standpoint, it reminds me of the celebrities, where you'll have celebrities that'll say, oh, I'm Black all day, every day. So, but really what you do, like with your resources, says a lot about you. So if you look at, say, I'm not going to name any names, but pick any celebrity, and you'll hear like, oh, they gave $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Club in their old neighborhood. But then they wrote a $10 million check to go invest in Uber with a bunch of nerdy white boys in Silicon Valley, where I'm like, no. The Black community should have got the 10 million and you let them get the 50,000. It shouldn't be the other way around, right? Because saying I love you is not enough. I have to show you that I love you.
Yes.
Right? Or even when Dr. Claude Anderson comes by, I was telling people, I said, okay, it's nice that y'all say y'all love him, but the Harvest Institute has bills to pay. And you're paying plenty of bills for white folks. Pay some bills for the people that you care about. You show your value system by where you allocate your resources, period. So everybody sort of process that a little bit. So I think that translates not just to your financial resources, but also your resources in terms of love, time, attention, and protection. And I made the decision, even before I even had any idea I was going to even date Alicia, because I always said to people, I said, I don't know if I'm going to get married or not. Ain't nobody going to tell me what to do. But if I get married, you can bet your butt it's going to be a Black woman. If it's not a Black woman, then y'all need to cancel me immediately, because I clearly have lost my mind. So everybody give a shout out for Black women and what they do for us and how much we appreciate and respect everything that you're doing in the community. And I'll have these two ladies back on if they'd like to come back. Thank you so much. And God bless everybody. Have a good night. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Dr. Boyce.